I would like to introduce...
I'm Calvin.
I'm Dylan.
I'm PJ.
And I'm Derek.
And this is Unmasked on Air, the show where your four favorite fanboys gather to discuss all things nerd.
Tackling the amazing, the incredible, and the spectacular.
Geeks, gamers, comic fans, lend us your ears.
Thank you for spending your time here with us at Unmasked on Air. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey.
And welcome to my apartment that I have rebuilt after it was attacked by those tremor monsters, whatever the fuck those are called.
Graboids.
Yeah, they're graboids.
You fucked one of those.
No, I just rode it away into the sunset, and
Yeah,
I think
that's
you're
true.
jealous.
It was kind of beautiful.
You rode it.
I had a lasso and a cowboy hat and a gun.
Okay,
I was thank you. I was
you
majestic.
rode it to a Motel 6, and you made sweet stick.
I had to
it.
stay
That
somewhere.
part is true.
I had to stay. I didn't make stick to it.
You
whatever the
laid
hell
pipe
that
in it,
means.
man.
No,
Oh,
I
come
did
on
not.
now.
I did not do
slipped
that
it-
either.
You slipped at the beef.
I didn't.
A
I
bunch
just
of
had to
other
lay my
things.
head somewhere because your whole loft was destroyed, and that's where I spend the night and we do these things.
You can lie to the audience, but not us, man.
I had to sleep with a giant hole in my ceiling.
Yeah, that sucks. I did not have sex with a graboid.
Well, anyway, so
missing
we're all
out.
here.
Okay, what now?
So we're coming up to this is our third arc
Yeah.
of Unmasked on Air.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, 2018's been a good year for us so far. Specifically, films we've talked a lot about, and just like the culture in general. But one thing that we haven't really talked about a whole bunch is comics. So one of the things that Derek, Dylan, and I were talking about this today, actually, which is it impossible to write, new heroes? Is it impossible? Like with DC, it has this event going on, like the New Age of Heroes,
Right.
and they've introduced like Sideways, Damage, the Silencer, a bunch of these different heroes that they're trying to promote, which is good.
Signal one of those two?
Kind
Or is
of.
that like
Technically, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because I don't hate him. I
think the Signal's fucking cool.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
like the Signal
love
a
the
lot.
name.
He's the Signal.
Yeah, I like
No,
it.
the Signal is a big old metal thing that sits on top of GCPD.
Yep, metal.
And he's the new one.
Was that a little foreshadowing there, Peach?
A wee bit of foreshadowing.
Just a skosh?
A smooch.
Oh, I don't think that's right.
Just a kiss
I
of
think-
four and a shadow of shadowing. So we have, like I said, it's been a big thing that comic creators are trying to make these new characters.
Yes.
And one of the ways that I think they've been doing it, because I thought about that, and it's very difficult for them to make new characters, but what is easy for them to do is make a new character by establishing basically the same thing, but slapping it in a different universe.
Yeah.
Just, this one's over here. This Green Lantern is different, but he's over here. So don't worry about it. It's almost like a cheap way to rewrite something without doing it.
So you mean like, are you talking more along the lines of like a Thomas Wayne Batman situation?
Or like a Zod Superman in Earth 3, and he's like the
or even like
black
the,
gentleman who wears the different colored costume, and he's
Right.
a descendant of Zod's family line.
or even like the entirety of
loved.
Injustice, the whole Injustice line.
Yeah. So, my PJ's Icebreaker Question.
You sound like the announcer for Smash Bros. Can you do like some Smash Bros announcing?
Mewtwo, Mario, Derek's dad, Tim Rosenberg, Peter Slimak, Jay Minette, and Tim Rosenberg
Hey.
go head to head in Super Smash Dads.
Now we're in a cave.
I am a monster in a cave.
I like that wind noise, Dylan. That was good.
We made a podcast as a byproduct of owning a board that we could make spooky cave sounds with.
But it's spooky. I like it.
So my PJ's Icebreaker question for you is, if we lived in a multiverse and this is the Earth Prime version of you,
Okay.
and we are in a comic book multiverse, so fantastical things can happen, we just happen to be the plokey Earth that doesn't have anything special going on, what would a multiverse version of you look like? So let's say, for example, I lived in the multiverse where like people were evolved instead of from like humans. The human species evolved from like reptilian species. So instead of mammalian, it was reptilian. I would be an alligator, Patrick. So anthropomorphic gator man.
So we're looking at like the lizard from Spider-Man, kind of?
Kind
Or
of.
like Killer Croc, maybe?
More Killer Croc than
Cool.
anything else, but with
Cool.
my beard.
Oh, of course.
You'd still have the beard?
I'd have the beard, yeah.
Would
and-
that be an evolutionary thing at that point?
Well, the reason I say that is because I like to lay down, and I like to eat things.
I do love to do both of those.
I'm grumpy, and sometimes I like to mash my cloaca on objects.
Would you still have your tattoos?
Oh, absolutely.
I like that.
Thank you, buddy.
that'd be
I think
So
it'd look pretty cool.
I'd
on
be like a
scales.
Killer Croc PJ. I think that's what I'm gonna stick with. Oh yeah, because I'd also really like to be able to bite through chain link fences. Just something about.
You could break somebody's back with like your tail.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
So
Bane
is
could
this
do
just
that.
is this just like a kind of like a choose your own adventure deal where like
Yeah.
what would you like to do?
Yeah, what would you like to be in a different universe? What would be cool?
I like we still have to stick with like present day, just in a different universe,
Exactly.
right? Okay, like a demon hunter, like a vampire demon hunter type, kind of like Constantine. I think
Would you wear the giant witch hat?
no, because I couldn't get around that because it's modern day, and I think it
Would your suit be like? Would you have big eyes on your suit? Would you have small eyes? Where would the spider logo go?
What do you?
Well, you're Spider-Man, obviously.
No, Constantine.
Oh, right.
Okay. No, I think that I think what I would do is because I like the idea of as scary as it is that stuff might exist, right? I think that's why I like that like spook factor so much when I'm reading this stuff. Is like, oh, that's really like gets under my skin, the idea of there being vampires and stuff.
Right.
I love the concept of hunting them. So somewhere between like Blade and Constantine. I don't think that a multiverse of me would be able to have the athletic prowess of Blade. That's why I say more like Constantine. But just the concept of like worst case scenario, I get bit and then I live forever. But like best case scenario, I like help innocent people. And I think that'd be really cool.
That is pretty cool, yeah.
And also, I mean, I had a fairly religious upbringing, and I think that like being knowledgeable on those sorts of things, it just would make sense that that's a direction I would head in.
Hell yeah.
So are we setting up like this world that we're living in?
Yeah, like you live in this multiverse, which is like Earth. The people, like we're all here. The people that you know are
Right.
here. But like in my universe, Dylan might be a gecko man, and
Can I be a snake?
you can be a sneaky snake.
Yes.
And Dylan,
Just
Derek,
don't boot my snoot.
good news, buddy.
Yeah.
You're definitely part tortoise.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you get in your shell.
Yeah.
You smoke blunts because tortoises are high all the time. It's
That
just
is
a
true.
fact. It's
Is
just
that
a
what that is?
That's why the hare won the race.
Wait, no. The tortoise won the race because he was on crack cocaine.
After taking an unhealthy amount of speed, the tortoise zoomed past the rabbit, who was too preoccupied with mating
Well, actually,
to
what's funny
finish
is that
the race.
It's funny is that part of my multiverse, David Attenborough never got the whole Planet Earth gig. It was actually Larry the Cable Guy. It was more like, well, out here, this rabbit was slacking off. I tell you what.
Trying to get some tail. That's punny.
Boo.
That's topical.
I feel like I would live in an Earth where, like biological technology advanced more. Because
Yeah.
my idea is, what is that? Something you were gonna go with?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys can share this.
Oh, we're gonna.
You want to be cyborgs?
No, you go ahead. Give yours.
Not necessarily a cyborg, but like the idea that I could like maybe replace my arm with something like a Ulysses Claw kind of.
So like Deus Ex.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Like where I could like maybe pop out an assassin's blade or something, or like turn my arm into a cannon and like.
But it's not like the world is doing this. It's like the multiversal version of you has these upgrades and it makes
Right.
you like a superior like killing machine.
Yeah.
Now, would you kill like anybody willy nilly, or would you be like a killer for hire? Like, are you a villain? I just questioned your whole moral, like your whole moral code.
I mean, we had a question like this before. You said you.
Yeah, I'm. I guess like chaotic neutral.
There you
kinda
go.
Character.
PJ's icebreaker question asks the real tough ones.
Mine. I'm thinking more of a. Because my first thought was Claw. Like whenever we finally got into it,
Right.
Which is strange that we both went that same direction.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh no, I'll go even one further. I want to be Ryan Gosling as a replicant Blade Runner. from Blade
So
Runner
you're-
2049.
You're literally
Oh my
just
God,
saying that
yes.
your multiverse would be Blade Runner.
yeah.
That's fucking cool.
It's a shot-for-shot perfect film.
Okay, enough with that.
Absolutely.
Director's cut, of course.
Okay, cool. Well, if anybody listening has any idea of what their multiverse could look like, or different rules and stuff about that, let us know. Tweet us at Unmasked on Air, and we'd love to build a multiverse that we will create our own comic books, and we'll have Rob Liefeld draw all of them.
So there's cyborgs, lizard people,
No,
vampires.
reptilian people.
Sorry, you're right. I
Racist.
apologize. Vampires and demons. This could be cool.
It would be fucking cool. Okay, well then this has been PJ's Icebreaker Question. Oh God, he fell down. So, moving directly from the Icebreaker, Dylan, this last issue of our Trials of Gods and King arc, we discussed Dragon Ball Super, it coming to an end, what we thought about it so far, and how we anticipated it to end.
Right.
We were both wrong.
I was way off.
We were way the fuck off. So just to
Spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched episode 131 yet, because
Yeah.
we know that it's only been out like a weekish.
yeah,
Oh, it came out. Yeah.
yeah. So if you're listening to this, of course it's spoiling, and if you're caught up, you're just as weirded out as we are. So the ending of the episode, to catch you up, Jiren is smacking the shit out of Goku and Ultra Instinct. The Ultra Instinct form takes its toll on Goku. He gets kicked out of it, collapses, like, coughs up bloody, and like it's awful. And then Frieza,
Jiren destroys the stage, but as Goku's falling, Frieza, I don't know what he did. It wasn't really clear, but I guess like kicked him onto a piece of the stage.
and then Frieza and 17, because 17's not dead.
Yeah, he makes it.
17 and Frieza start putting Jiren back on the ropes, because Jiren can't power back down at this point.
Yeah,
and
he's been through some stuff.
and he's burning out of energy. Frieza and 17 start getting him on the ropes, and then Goku wakes back up. And so then basically Frieza and Goku go on the offensive and start working together in this nearly coordinated attack.
Right.
And it's awesome. Like, Goku at one point like elbows the back of Jiren's head into Frieza's knee, back into Goku's punch. It's fucking cool. It's very well choreographed as far as the art is concerned. And then basically 17 stands in the back and just throws a bunch of like android key blasts that are homing, and he's just Jiren gets his ass kicked. And I can go into the back and forth, but realistically, Goku throws like the Wolverine Colossus fastball special.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He throws Frieza at. I think that's how it ends. Like, he throws Frieza and then he catches up and they rock him off the stage.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Goku is given the wish from the Super Dragon Balls. He wishes.
Because Goku and Frieza both sacrificed themselves to knock Jiren off the stage, so all three of them were canceled. The only survivor was 17.
So that means that Android 17, who for the majority of Z was either a bad guy or not there,
Right.
won the Tournament of Power.
And a lot of hearts.
He did. He is the MV fucking P.
Yeah.
He's great.
Having you guys explain that to me right now, it makes so many of the memes I've seen over the last few days make so much more sense.
About how 17 is the fucking MVP.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and like there was one about like Vegeta was crying over the fact that Goku and Frieza was going off and fighting without him, and
So yeah, it ends with basically the wish by Goku is made to bring all the
17.
universes back. Oh yeah, it is 17. Well, it's Goku's fucking wish.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's been saying he's going to do it the whole season. Kaba comes back with Universe 6 and thanks Vegeta for bringing him back. Everybody's happy. Even Hit is like,
we'll
he
clear up
smiles.
that 17 just wished that all the universes that were erased were brought back.
Right. So all of the universes that have been canceled out and destroyed so far are back. Hit smiles, but like not in a shitty way. It is weird. It was unsettling. And then the two Xenoses ask Xeni? What is the plural of Xenos? Xenoops?
Zanoopanoops.
Zanoopanoops. The two Zanoopanoopies. Man, we're good at this.
Yeah.
The language. They're like, hey, Goku, you got to come back and fight with us again. And Goku's like, I will. And then it's like, thanks, see you again. And it's Goku and Vegeta. And that's the end. And like,
Although they ended it with Goku and Vegeta in a rocky canyon, kind of like their first fight, and they did their classic poses, except they're Super Saiyan Blue, which is a really nice callback.
That's
I think.
cool.
It is, and they go after each other, and it's cool because it's like back to basics.
And they're just like sparring.
Yeah, and they've announced that the after the movie, they've announced that they will probably come back.
Right.
Well, they've hinted,
Right.
but I can't imagine a universe where after this amount of global success, they wouldn't try to reinvigorate the series again.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're pretty dead set on rebooting it or bringing it back.
And we've
after
seen
the
some
movie.
trailers on the movie, and Dylan and I have discussed like the art looks pretty fucking cool.
I love it.
There's some weird villain that has
don't
yet to be
know about.
introduced, and it looks cool. So we're excited for that. But that's how it ended. So if you were surprised, if you liked it, definitely let us know. But also, we'll be here just with you guys through the movie, and hopefully they bring that back. There's a lot of anime series that they really need to just kick this shit into gear for. Like,
We're about to get season 2 and season 3 of Fooly Cooly on Adult Swim.
yeah.
Really?
Well,
Oh.
and like Attack on Titan was like gone for 4 years.
Yeah, it's been gone for a long time.
Well, it's like One Punch Man. One Punch Man, there's merchandise for that show everywhere. I recently finished it. It was great. It's hilarious, but it's also got a cool universe that it's starting to build.
Right.
They set it up on a cliffhanger. It's been like years.
Yeah.
So I gotta stop doing this shit. If One Piece can get 40,000 episodes, fucking One Punch Man can get a second season. That's our wrap up for DBS. And then Derek, we had spoken about something else in our last arc that you said you wanted to come back and touch on.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear this.
Yeah, we were talking about Marvel movies, not only in the MCU but just Marvel movies in general, and we mentioned the Stan Lee cameos, and I think Calvin asked, had Stan Lee been in all of them? And I was like, I know he hasn't been, but I don't know the exact count. Like, I can't tell you. So I've done that research. I went and looked it up. The first one of Stan Lee's cameos is an interesting choice, and I went ahead and like put it in the list. The Lou Ferrigno led Incredible Hulk TV show.
Right.
They did a like made for TV movie called The Trial of the Incredible Hulk in 1989.
Yeah.
And the Bruce Banner and the Hulk are on trial. They're like going against Wilson Fisk, sorry, and Matt Murdock is there as well, and Daredevil is in the episode, but Stan Lee is one of the main jurors as a cameo, and he just an uncredited cameo.
That's amazing.
And that's one of his first ones.
That
or
was
earlier?
one of that was
I
one of his
guarantee
first
you
ones.
that Daredevil is better than the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
Probably.
It might be.
Dare Ben Affleck. You got Batfleck.
Yeah.
Then you got Dare Ben Affleck.
Yeah, see, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
I know.
Doesn't roll off the tongue at all.
I'll see myself out of my own apartment.
Then the next one that's kind of relevant, I guess, is the one that we actually referenced, which is from X-Men from 2000. It's Senator Kelly comes out of the water after escaping from the like prison island thing that Magneto has him in, and he becomes all gelatinous and whatnot.
You mean, quote, not Genosha, but it's Genosha? Yeah.
Yes. And he comes crawling back up on the beach, and Stan Lee is at a hot dog stand, and he looks up at him as he comes walking through frame, and I don't think he has a line in that.
So that's
one
like
at all.
that's less of a pointed cameo because
He's just
like
there.
they've almost gotten at this point where it's like we're gonna stop everything for
has
about 8
lines,
seconds
yeah.
and
Yep.
give him a moment in each movie. But that's
Yep.
cool.
That one is literally just he's just there. The one that came after that was in Spider-Man, which is in 2002. He has several that are in the Spider-Man movies, the Raimi movies that are the first two are very similar. Is that the Green Goblin is attacking, and there's some explosions from some pumpkin bombs, and this debris is falling, and Stan Lee he runs to escape debris. So it's just a really quick shot of him just kind of running across frame as this debris falls. The following year, he was in Daredevil. It's at the very beginning whenever you see young Matt Murdock, and it's after he's blind, and he's standing on a street corner with his cane, and Stan Lee is an old man on the corner, and he's reading like a magazine or a newspaper, and he just about steps into traffic, and blind Matt, just holds his cane up to like block him from stepping in front of a truck.
Oh.
That's cool.
So it's a little bit more of like if you didn't know who Stan Lee was, you know, like my mom, if she watched Daredevil, probably wouldn't be able to pick that out.
Right.
But if you know who he is, then it's a little bit more pointed. Then you have Hulk in 2003. He was a security guard with Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
In Ang Lee's Hulk, Lou Ferrigno and Stan Lee are both security guards. Spider-Man 2 in 2004. Same thing. Debris is falling because of Doc Ock. And Stan Lee he saves a little girl from the falling debris. Like it's a very similar sort of thing.
I bet Stan Lee even regrets being in Ang Lee's The Hulk.
Yeah.
I bet he's like, fuck, I should have done that.
It's like that
That's
one
the
movie, that one.
If he didn't hate the fact that he's in Hulk, he was in Fantastic Four.
He's he has a character name. He's the mail guy for the Baxter Building.
He's a mailman. He delivers letters to Reed Richards, like specifically to Reed.
I have to look that up because it's a real character in the series.
I found another one later on that is really interesting. I'm gonna keep going and then you can jump back in. X-Men: The Last Stand in 2006. He is at the very beginning. There is a flashback scene of a younger Magneto and a younger Eric and a younger Professor X, Charles. They show up in a neighborhood and they get out of the car to go in and meet a very young Jean Grey. And Stan Lee is an old man in the neighborhood and he's watering his lawn. And then when Jean Grey starts using her powers and everything starts floating, the water from his hose starts floating up. And he looks around confused.
The mailman for the Baxter Building is named William Lumpkin, also known as Willie Lumpkin, and that is who Stan Lee was credited as, which is brilliant.
In Spider-Man 3 in 2007, he actually gets a speaking part in a Spider-Man movie, and he and Peter Parker are in Times Square, and he gives advice to Peter saying, "I guess one person can make a difference." Which is a very Stan Lee thing to say.
Yeah.
Which
very pointed again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, he's playing himself at this point.
He's like, I'm so awesome.
He is.
No, he is.
Yeah.
For sure. He earned it.
He's just out here fucking talking to superheroes.
And then in the same year, he is literally playing himself in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, where he is seen arguing with a bouncer outside of Reed Richards and Sue Storm's wedding, saying, "Well, no, my name has to be on the list. I have to be in there." Like, he appeared in Heroes, the TV show, in 2007 as a bus driver. Then he's in Iron Man in 2008, and this is when we finally get into the MCU movies. He is greeted by Tony Stark as Tony goes into a red carpet event. And he's like tapped on the shoulder and he's like, "Hey, Hef, how you doing?" And Stanley in, a red like
smoking jacket,
and he has a pipe and he's surrounded by like the girls next door. And they turn around and he doesn't say anything, but he just kind of has like a what? So it's like, I don't know if he's supposed to be Hugh Hefner or if he's supposed to be Stan Lee, who Tony Stark
thinks is Hugh Hefner.
I always took that one as he mistook him standing there in that jacket as Hugh. I don't think he was supposed to be playing Hugh, because when he turns around, he kind of looks like what?
Yeah, like that's how I've always taken it myself.
Can I say this next one because I know what it is and it's my favorite?
Okay.
So the next one is Edward Norton's Hulk.
Yes.
And
the Incredible Hulk 2008.
It is the Hulk's blood drips into a bottle on a conveyor belt, and then it gets shipped out of wherever to different stores and whatnot, and then it shows Stan Lee crack the bottle and drink it. And then he fucking dies. And it's hilarious. Because it's like, of all these cameos, it's like, he's saving somebody and whatnot. No, they killed him in that one.
He drinks it and he's just like, whoa. It's like he's just a man from Milwaukee.
I'm going to reserve my favorite, because my favorite you've not mentioned yet.
Okay. I'm just doing these in order.
No, yeah. You just haven't mentioned my favorite yet.
Next up would be another. This is a running theme for the Iron Man movies, because in Iron Man 2 in 2010, he's greeted by Tony Stark again at a press event as Larry King.
Right.
But once again, I don't know if he's Stan Lee playing Larry King.
Well, what's funny is in that one, he's got like the suspenders.
Yeah. And he's like got the gruff look on his face and he's hunched.
But again, it could be that
Happy's an asshole.
Well, and it could be that Tony just keeps thinking he's famous people because he's always around famous people.
Exactly.
Which I always took it as just kind of like he just assumed that was a famous guy.
Which makes sense. Like Tony is so like out of it,
and
as the playboy, like
right.
he's just like, yeah, that's obviously this person. I kind of take it as that. In Thor in 2011, this is one of my favorites to go along with the one in Incredible Hulk. So Thor's hammer is stuck in the ground like the sword in the stone in the middle of the desert in like New Mexico.
Right.
And all of these like redneck guys,
Like these yokels.
have come out and they've all been trying to pull it out of the ground. And so they like, you see like bigger and bigger guys come out and they try and pulling it up. And finally there's this old pickup truck that they tie off to it and they go, just driving away from it. And it just destroys this truck, just jerks it back and like rips the tail end off of it. And then it pushes into the cab and it's just Stan Lee. Like he's got like a trucker hat on. And he's
like, did it work?
Yeah, he's like, did it work? So
Hey, Stan Lee here. Did it work? I don't know why he's a 1920s newspapers vendor.
In Captain America: The First Avenger, also in 2011, he is a World War II general, and he remarks that he thought that Captain America would be taller whenever he sees Steve Rogers for the first time. In the Avengers, he's toward the end of the movie after all of the big everything has happened, and they're showing like news clips. And there's a video that plays, and it's him sitting. He's playing like chess in the park, and he turns around. And they're like interviewing him. He's like, "Superheroes in New York? Give me a break."
That scene always reminds me of that Pixar short.
Yep.
Oh,
The
yeah.
two old men in the
Yes.
park playing chess. I think that was in the beginning of Toy
Story.
Story 2.
No, I think it was
it's
A Bug's
Toy-
Life. Wasn't
Yeah, you're right. I'm almost. It doesn't matter.
'Cause it was
But
one of my
It's a
favorites.
very
No, you know,
early
you
one.
know why we're thinking Toy Story 2? He is they use the same model as the guy that restores Woody.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the same.
But yeah,
character,
Dylan's
quote-unquote.
right. It's Bug's Life.
Yeah.
It's my favorite short.
In The Amazing Spider-Man in 2012, he is a librarian that's listening to music on these big headphones, and he's listening to like classical music but just cranked up. And Spider-Man and the Lizard burst into the library behind him and have a whole like slow motion choreographed fight, destroying the library, and he has no idea that it's happening behind him.
Right.
Iron Man 3, he is an excited judge at a beauty pageant.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've seen Iron Man 3.
That one is so bad,
Yeah.
which
that-
hurts
see,
me.
I love Iron Man.
No.
3.
I like it. I have the most out of most of the Marvel films. It's low on my list. Like
Okay.
Yeah, I
watch
just feel
it.
like it doesn't really fit in with the
I
rest.
feel like they went for that like trilogy feel and they forced it before they realized what the MCU was going to eventually become. I feel like they kind of rushed through because even Iron Man 2 was kind of lackluster as far as villains and stuff.
See, that's
go.
it. Iron Man 2 is the weak point for me. I like Iron Man 3. It did something different.
What's funny
Yeah.
is that I barely remember the Iron Man 2 cameo, the Larry King one. I didn't even remember that. What I remember the cameo from Iron Man 2 that I remember is Elon Musk is in it. And he walks by and he's like, "I have a pitch for you, Tony." And Tony's like, yeah, I'll get to you fucking later. And he's like, he walks off. You don't know shit. Pack sand.
Why is Tony also a 1920s newspaper
Everyone
guy?
sells paper in the 20s.
Okay.
Extra.
That's his Earth 3.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of the same guy throwing newspapers at each other out of a jalopy.
Later that year in Thor: The Dark World, he is, and I don't remember this at all. He is a patient in a mental institution where Professor Eric Selvig is giving a lecture about space. Apparently, and he like takes his shoes or something.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I don't like.
I don't
I'm-
either.
I just started my rewatch of the MCU in order
Right.
to get ready for Infinity War in a month. And so I'm like slowly picking up on certain things that I had forgotten.
Right.
I remember a lot more from like Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk than I thought I did. But it's those ones in the middle that I didn't really care for. Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 2, that I think I'm going to get a lot out of this time.
Right.
Captain America: Winter Soldier. He is a security guard at the Smithsonian, and he finds Captain America's suit has been stolen. And I think he says something about like he's probably going to get fired about this.
Okay.
In Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, he is so. Whenever I don't know what planet they're on, but Rocket Raccoon. It's basically when the team comes together for the first time. It's when they kind of run into each other. And Rocket and Groot are down by the fountain.
Oh yeah.
The Nova planet. I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
I think it's Nova Prime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And Rocket is looking around with like binoculars.
Basically Google Glass.
Yeah, and he's like zooming in on people, and it's telling him like, oh, this person is wanted, and this person is this person, and it's Stan Lee is up, and he's in like kind of a spacey looking bathrobe, and he's like flirting with some hot woman.
And basically Rocket says something to the effect of like, "Shut up, you dirty old man."
Yeah, like he makes a joke about him. Yeah. In the Amazing Spider-Man 2,
he is Jamie Foxx.
Wow.
The whole movie, he was wearing a mask.
I have yet to see this movie.
I haven't seen it either.
But
It's
this
awful.
this scene sounds hilarious. I'm assuming that Peter Parker is going. Yeah, he's coming to his high school graduation, and he lands, and he changes out of his Spidey suit into his cap and gown, and Stan Lee is the only person in the crowd who notices that this is happening, and he like tries to get people's attention.
Excelsior!
The thing of it is, at this point, you have to wonder, like, he's not writing them. You have to wonder what he's doing, and like,
right.
I feel like they probably write these things, and he just goes, all right, and then they have free reign to make Stan Lee do whatever. The next one's actually my favorite, I think. Is it Big Hero 6? Is that the next one?
Yeah, that's what I was...
Okay, so at the end of the whole movie, it's like an after-credits scene, which is why part of why I love it so much is because I wasn't waiting for it. It's technically a Marvel film though, so like,
yeah,
but I wasn't waiting for it like the live actions. And it's at the very end, and he comes in, and it's Fred's dad.
Yep.
And he like looks up at him, and unmistakably, in like Pixar animation, it's fucking Stan Lee. And I was just like, it warmed me up so much because it's a touching thing, and no matter who it was nice to see.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was freaking Stan Lee, I was like, okay, that was my favorite one.
That's a really good nod. Then he's been in episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in like around the 2014 season. He was a stranger on a train who talks to Gemma Simmons and Agent Coulson.
Okay.
He was in episodes, or at least an episode of Agent Carter.
So that's 2 of the shows.
Yep. The 2 that were on ABC, or are
right.
on ABC. He is getting his shoes shined, and he asks Howard, he's sitting beside Howard Stark.
Right.
From Howard Stark being played by the same guy who played him in Captain America First Avenger.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah.
He's also like, he's really good. I think he's a good look for Howard too.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's my favorite of the people that they've gotten to play him.
Yeah,
so.
because it was a different actor
They've
in
had
Civil War, right?
3 different actors, I think, play him.
The thing of it is, though, he had a much bigger part in those 2 things we just referenced than like Civil War. It was almost just kind of the back of his head the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I guess, because I guess he talked to Tony in that one scene where they like de-aged RDJ.
Yeah.
I liked the other guy better though. I think he was
so.
perfect.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, he's sitting beside him, and they're both getting their shoes shined, and he asks Howard Stark if he can borrow the sports section. They're just reading the newspapers. He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or he was in Avengers: Age of Ultron. He is a World War II veteran who takes a swig of Thor's 1,000-year-old alcohol, and he gets
Excelsior.
real drunk.
He gets ripped. Yeah, like immediately.
They have to like escort him out of the party.
And that's what he says, Excelsior. He's like, can't breathe.
2015, Ant-Man. He is a bartender in one of Lewis's stories. He's in, as far as I know, he's in all of the Netflix shows. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Defenders, and The Punisher. He is like an honored cop. He actually has a name, Captain Irving Forbush, and he appears like in pictures, like in the back of the police station or on like posters.
Yeah, like a bus stop or a street corner. He's always there. Yeah.
But that character, from what I looked up, he's actually from Marvel Comics. Like, that's a person. He was in Deadpool in 2016. He is the DJ making announcements in the strip club. He was in Captain America Civil War. He is the FedEx delivery man who is delivering a package to Tony Stank at the very end of the movie. He made his return to the X-Men franchise. He was in X-Men Apocalypse. With this one, I haven't seen Apocalypse either, but this one I now really want to see because of this. He is with his wife Joan, and they are both shocked bystanders as Apocalypse launches all of the world's like nuclear weapons. But they stand, shocked. But it's cool, like the idea of before her passing, like she was with him.
That's cute.
In like a little, they basically played themselves. He was in Doctor Strange, which we saw not that long ago, and I completely forgot where this was because it's so fast.
Yeah.
I remember his just because it was funny.
Yeah.
And there was something about the book he was reading that was
The book he's reading goes over chakras, which was like just discussed in the meeting with the Ancient One.
Right, I remember that.
He's reading a book on a bus, and just outside the window behind him, like the world is folding in half, and like, you know, Doctor Strange
like
being,
slams into the bus window. Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. He is.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite cameo.
Yeah, this one is interesting. He is an astronaut that is sitting on a planet with the Watchers, and he's talking to them about how he used to be a postman on Earth, which is referencing the FedEx driver.
So,
or like
the guy from the Iron Man.
What James Gunn has hinted is that the cameo with the Watcher is supposed to be Stan Lee telling the Watchers about all his cameos.
Right.
Because he's like, and then I was a postman. And it's like, that's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
In Spider-Man Homecoming, he is a neighbor of Peter Parker, and then he also like yells at him from a window or something.
So Peter jumps down, and because the guy's got a coat hanger into the window of a car, and he's trying to pop the lock, and Spider-Man jumps onto the hood of the car, and he webs the guy's hand to the car, and he's like, hey buddy, you know you're not supposed to steal cars, right? And he like slams his head down into the car, and the guy's like, it's my car, asshole, I lost my keys. And the car alarm starts going off, and Spider-Man's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And he's like, woo woo, and this woman is like, hey, shut that damn alarm off. And this guy's like, hey man, I gotta wake up in the morning. And then Stanley pokes his fucking head out, and he's like, don't make me come down there. Marjorie, how you doing? And Marjorie's like, oh, Howard, I'm good. How are you? And he's like, I'm good. How's the kids? And it's just like everything about the montage of that movie, the do a flip. And then he's like, yeah, that whole sequence is fucking weird.
No, it's great though.
It is.
In Thor Ragnarok,
I have not seen this one yet.
Thor gets captured, and he is going to be forced to fight in a gladiator style match,
a la Planet Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when he's captured, he is taken in to basically, you know, they cut his long hair off. And so the guy who comes in to cut his hair off is Stan Lee, and he's in like the weird future garb of this planet, and he's wearing like these armbands that have like shears on them and like big razor blades that are spinning on them and stuff. And he comes in and he's just like, oh, you hold still.
Cuts a fucking ear off. That's how Thor lost his eye.
Stan Lee
Oops.
lopped his eye out with these blade bracelets.
And then I haven't seen
Blade
these,
slits.
but he has been in The Gifted, which is a Marvel show as a man leaving a bar. He was in Hulu's Runaways as a limo driver, and then he was in Black Panther. He was a gambler in the casino.
Right.
He like all the chips get left on the table,
And he just kind
and he
of,
just like
I'll just watch these.
Yeah.
He was not, the movies that he is not in.
So yeah, that's what my question was are there any that jumped out that he was not in? That
Logan
He's
jumps out
in-
for me.
He's not in any of the 3 Wolverine movies.
Is that
he's-
just a franchising thing, you think?
Well, he was in X-Men 1 and 3.
Oh, but he wasn't
in
X2.
2.
That's weird.
He wasn't in the he wasn't in the Wolverine movies.
Well, I know that a lot of X2 was really shit, actually, for most of the people that worked on it. Like, I listened to an interview with Alan Cumming, who was like, I loved Nightcrawler. It was the worst film ever. It made me want to quit acting. Like, not being shitty, but like,
just a difficult shoot.
They were mean to him. Like, he felt bullied. He felt oppressed. He didn't, like, they shit all over him. And he's like, I love that I'm an action figure and, like, that kids like me. And it was really, that's what kept me going. But, like, apparently the morale on that cast was just garbage. And it wasn't for, like, they didn't feed us. It was like they were mean.
And then he's not in First Class.
He's not in First Class. He's not in Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
He's not in.
So it's a lot of the X-Men things.
He's not. Well, they're still shooting the other one.
No, but I mean, like, it seems so far our list is mostly just X-Men that he
and then
hasn't been in.
he wasn't in any of the Blades.
Yeah.
He wasn't in either of the Punishers.
He wasn't in Elektra.
He wasn't in Elektra.
Ghost Riders.
He wasn't in the Ghost Riders.
Maybe he's like, those movies are all bad. He like read the script and was like, I don't want to be a part of those. Take my name off that.
His best cameo, sincerely, is Guardians 2. It's brilliant.
It is. It makes sense.
Well, and then
of
his-
like of him appearing in everything.
And then he has a second cameo in Guardians 2, which is an after credits sequence. They're starting to the Watchers are walking off, and he's like, "Hey, wait, no, where are you going? I don't have a ride. Oh, geez, I got so many more stories to tell." And it's just like, what the fuck?
My favorite cameo that he's ever had is from Kevin Smith's Mallrats from 1995, where he just plays himself. And he gives Brody Bruce some relationship advice, and I live by it.
I'm glad to hear that.
But yeah, that's all the Stan Lee cameos so far.
That's a really cool thing you did, putting together that list. I like that.
So, the reason in the beginning of this episode, and the Stan Lee cameos kind of remind me of this because he's been in so many different conflicting roles that maybe he's different multiverse versions of himself. But my icebreaker question was brought up because I think we are all reading Metal. Metal wraps up this month with its 6th issue. It has been a long time coming, the Dark Knights Metal series, which, for those of you who are unaware, Metal is shorthand for Dark Knights Metal, which is Knights as in K. It has been a long time brewing.
Yeah.
There are bits of it from the Crisis, several different Crisis series, including like the Anti-Monitor tuning fork from Infinite Crisis, the multiverse map from Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right.
There are things from Blackest Night are being brought up.
I think there are ties to like the 52 and
a lot of Batman from the 52. A lot of Scott Snyder's work.
Pretty much all of the major events that happen in Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's New 52 Batman run, the Court of Owls, the Endgame, with,
specifically Endgame.
Endgame, a lot.
0 Year 2.
And there's some 0 Year stuff in there.
Yeah, and all of this stuff is kind of being brought full circle in a like a universe-shattering event. Like the things that are happening in Metal are rewriting a lot of the way that Rebirth was set to happen. There are new heroes, like we were saying earlier. There are new heroes in this like New Age of Heroes event that they're making that are born as a result of the effects of Metal. The Justice League is being split into, I think it's 4 lines now.
Well, it's 4 parts of a miniseries that Scott Snyder is doing, and then he will then become the main writer on Justice League.
Yeah.
Right.
Which then we will get Justice League as a title. Justice League Dark is coming back as an oncoming title.
With different, like a whole new roster.
About half the same roster, but they added Detective Chimp.
They added Detective Chimp, and did you notice that almost out of spite, they've drawn Swamp Thing just like Alan Moore?
Yeah.
Long hair, big beard.
He's got it almost looks like dreads.
Yeah, and he's like, because Alan Moore's like, fuck you, DC. You guys keep lying to me. I don't want any part of your franchise. And they're like, okay, well, your creature looks just like you. Fuck you. We basically made you a Halloween costume. Suck a dick.
Which is hilarious.
It is
but also
fucking
appropriate
hilarious.
because I think Alan Moore is a swamp creature at this point.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
He lives in the bog of eternal stench.
The other Justice League line, Justice League Odyssey, which is like Justice League, the cosmic side of things.
Right. Starro's in that, right?
Yeah. And Darkseid.
Right.
Is part of...
Which is weird because in Metal he was a baby.
Yeah. No, that team is...
I hate how you said that.
Yeah. That team is Darkseid, Starfire... Cyborg.
What did he look like?
Who took over for Batman during Nightfall?
Jean-Paul Valley, Azrael.
Yeah.
Azrael. Thank you. I was like, his name is.
Is he wearing? Right now. Can I see the picture? Is he wearing like the
Hold
fucking
on.
suit?
Yeah,
I don't
he
even know
is.
you are.
And
Knights
it's got like a flaming sword and stuff.
I'll just look it up here. Don't worry about it.
And then who is the newest female Green Lantern?
Oh, Jessica.
Yep.
Ramirez.
She is the other one. But that's all gonna come from Metal, like the closing of Metal. So what we hope to do is give everyone a little bit of time, about a week, to catch up, because on March 28th is when Metal number 6 comes out, and then Metal will finally be done. It will be completed. They are releasing 4 different trade paperbacks or hardcovers of like The Road to Metal, Metal, which is the 6 issues, The Dark Knights, and then the like Gotham Resistance or whatever, and those are some other tie-ins. So 4 books that you can buy every bit of metal in.
Right.
Instead of buying singles.
Calvin, you are a big Justice League Dark fan. The new Justice League Dark lineup
Yes.
is Wonder Woman, Zatanna, Detective Chimp.
Wow, he
Swamp
really does
Thing.
look like Alan Moore.
Yeah, Swamp Thing, and Man Bat.
Okay.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm disappointed that Constantine's not there. And
Yeah, I thought he was
Xanadu.
gonna be.
They have Wonder Woman in there, but not Constantine. That just feels a little weird.
And it may be explained in this
Yeah.
this miniseries that's going to happen.
It's
kind of
like having it'd be
Metal.
like having like Justice League without Superman, and you're like,
Yeah.
is it?
But I don't know.
That's cool though. No, I'm very excited.
This is a cool series that is leading into, I think, some cool, interesting times for DC. It's kind of shaking it up, and so we're really hoping to kind of dive into that and kind of give a good explanation, so that if you haven't already done it, go read Metal.
You know, Derek, I think that if I were going to use some terminology here about how cool metal is,
Yeah.
right? It almost makes me just want to I don't want to spoil anything for the next issue.
Right.
So I think I'm just going to use a bunch of words that are kind of non-specific and aren't related in an order that doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And I'll use just a few of them here, and we'll
It's like if this was a trailer or something.
Right. I'm going to say Purple, Mambo,
Yeah,
Thursday,
that one.
I don't feel good.
Doggy, Sandwiches,
Patrick,
Licorice,
You're
Have you-
looking pale.
AK-47.
Have you ever?
Agent 46 checking into
my
standby.
God.
Oh my God! Have you been a Russian sleeper cell this
Attack
whole time?
American.
He's got a
people.
gun.
Why do you have a gun, Patrick? You're
Must eliminate American podcasters.
Look at me. It's me. It's your brother. It's me.
All you are is fire to the flame.
Oh my God, Rob!
Calvin, how did you come up with that? Have you even read Metal?